What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to T4L Trades with your boy, Mr. Nicolas, the one and only on your road to profitable trading and potentially get some gains. It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday on January 3rd, 2024. And now let's get straight into the trading day. And real quick, let's go over the strategy section. As you can see, we use resistance and support lines. We map these out. You see, was previous support, became resistance, and this was previous support and state support. And as you can see, we have the Bollinger Bands that we use, the Keltner channels. This red line right here is the expected move for the week, the MACD, and the RSI. That's all we use. And then we also use a 2 ATR move to the downside or the upside within the first 45 minutes to be able to identify if it's going to be a bullish or bearish trending day. And some days are not every day is a tradable day. Some days are not tradable. So usually if it's not bullish or bearish and the market is very erratic and there's no clear signal, I tend to step away from the market. So let's get straight now. Sorry, excuse me. Let's get straight now into the beautiful and potentially get some gains. Analysis that we have for you. So as you can see, there was a gap down. So this is going to be our second gap down, 2 back-to-back days of gap downs. So in a future video, I'm going to talk about my thesis for the next 2 to 3 months and the beginning of 2024. I believe there's going to be a nice bearish move to the downside in the markets, a significant move to the downside, but that's another idea for another video. But as you can see here, this is our second day that we've had a gap down. I've been trading now for 4 weeks and I have yet to see a gap down or a gap up. And the first one that I've seen so far is a gap down. And I'm seeing a gap down at a heavy resistance on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly time frames, which are all the bigger time frames. So as you can see, we had a gap down. We came into it with a 2 ATR move to the downside. I'm going to put up the SPY really quick because it gives a way better view. Sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. So as you can see, we chopped around. We had a 2 ATR move to the upside, and we completely collapsed. After that. So after that kind of happened, I knew that the market was going to have a retrace. I knew we were going to see a retrace of this move because it did the same thing on the previous gap down day, which was yesterday. Go over to the previous day's video for Tuesday, January 2nd. Watch that video, and you're going to see the similarities between yesterday and today. Almost identical. The market kind of played itself. So as you can see, we had complete move to the downside. We had a 2 ATR move in both directions within the first 45 minutes. So I didn't have no clear signal. Today was one of the days where I almost stepped away from the market. But I came to a realization, and my realization is that there's going to be a retracement. There's going to be a retracement before this collapses. So what did I do? The same thing I did yesterday was I looked for my area of resistance and I looked for my area of supports. So this area of support goes back about a week, 2 or 3 weeks ago. This was support. Basically almost like a month ago, this area was support. So it's still going to be support for intraday. And this was support yesterday. So this is now resistance because we're gapped down. So we opened below. We opened below yesterday's close, significantly below. So support now becomes resistance. So boom. Now we have those two things mapped out. Once I had those two things mapped out, I knew that there was a significant chance that with this move to the downside, with a gap down included, there was going to be an extensive move in the opposite direction before we ended off the day bearish because we had already gapped down. Because that's a similar picture to what happened the previous day. So as you can see, we had a beautiful entry here, bullish. As you can see, we entered here. We saw the RSI bottoming out, and I thought that this was gonna go off from here. It didn't. It's fine. I had confidence because obviously you see it touched my support and it didn't go lower than that. And since it didn't go lower than that, it gave me confidence in a second entry, meaning that there's buyers in this area. This same general area where I was at, there was buyers 5 points below. So when I got back up in a significant direction back to this same area where my previous entry was, I entered again. And as you can see, the market continued, just in a range, range bound. And then eventually what you see is after all of this range, we get a beautiful strength in the RSI, momentum confirmation on the MACD. And as you can see, we're off to the horses. And another big reason I took this trade is because we're at the expected move for the week. And since we're at the expected move for the week, I don't expect them to go up over the expected move without there being a little bit of a fight. Meaning I didn't expect them to go below this and stay below this expected line, at least not so soon in the week. Maybe it'll do the deed Thursday, Friday, but I didn't believe it was going to do it Wednesday. So I was looking for kind of like a mean reversion strategy. Since we had already completed the Friday's expected move, I assumed that there was going to be a reaction in the opposite direction, and I was correct. Those were my assumptions on why I was bullish in this scenario. Nothing I saw at the beginning in the first 45 minutes gave me a clear direction. I'm strictly trading price action, and I've gotten very, very good at being able to identify what price action is going on in the moment and being able to profit off of it and have very good entries and exits. So as you can see, we continued this, chopped around, and then once we were off to the horses, we were off to the horses. Once we broke above the expected move, which was previously resistance then became support. We chopped around a bit and we bounced off like a rocket. We took profit here and we took profit here. As you can tell, we had momentum slowing down, weakness weakness in the RSI, so little to no strength. So this was confirming that there was going to be a move to the downside. And as you can see, there was a significant move to the downside. We took profit, and this is why you always take profit at certain levels or whenever you think the market may not be in your favor. Profit is profit. Doesn't matter if it's 10% profit, 5% profit, 50% profit. Profit is profit. A win is a win. Always remember that. A win is a win. So then go on to continue to this part of the day where it came down and it came back in. I wasn't looking at my screen, but luckily I came to my screen right when this was happening. We had this reaction from here. Previously was resistance, and as you can see, it is resistance. Double top 1, top 2, and then I had an entry here. I had an entry to the short side. I had a second entry here once I had confirmation. So as you can see, I had an entry here, and then my second entry here was on confirmation of the move to the downside, which as you can see, the MACD, meaning momentum, had already broken down by my second entry, and so had the strength. Strength had completely collapsed. So those were my two. That was my second confirmation to be able to get a second entry, and we took profit right here. Reason being, we took profit and we didn't take profit down here was because it seemed like the market might have a potential bounce. It seemed like they were, trading in a range to be able to maybe shoot it into the last 30 minutes. Another big lesson, as we can get straight into the what did we learn section. Another big lesson for today's trading day is do not trade the last 30 minutes. The last 30 minutes of the market are nothing like the rest of the day. The rest of the day is your normal regular Joe Schmo day. No biggie, no complaints. The market tends to generally do what it's going to do the same time over and over and over again. And it's a repeatable pattern that you're able to identify. But within the last 30 minutes, it's completely erratic. Nothing ever seems to work within the last 30 minutes for me. So one of my big lessons is I will no longer ever trade in the last 30 minutes. Once it gets to 3:30, I'm closing the books, closing my trades, win or lose, no matter what, because the last 30 minutes are too unpredictable. Another thing that we can learn from today is support and resistance zones and are very important, and how the day starts is also very important. If we start off with a gap down, the market is likely to retrace but continue to trend lower because there's already a gap down, meaning we started the day off bearish. And the same I assume until that day happens, but I would assume that the same is true with a gap up day. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this wonderful trading video. As you can see, we had wonderful gains. We had a total of 4 entries and 2 exits for a good profit and a very, very, very substantial profit for today. The paper trade account keeps growing. I'm gonna try to get it to $500,000. The paper trade account. We start off with little milestones, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys in future videos and along the journey to when we eventually use money and we're able to live stream real profitable trades with actual real dollars. So guys, remember to always like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check the Discord out on the link and in the description below. I'm always there and willing to ask questions. Whenever you ask, just at me. I'm not always looking and I'm not always in there, but I'm always willing to answer questions whether I know anything or not to the best of my capabilities. I really enjoy this, guys, and I'm looking forward to being able to give you guys more content like this. Better content in terms of outdoor stuff, whatever it may be. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.